Timothy, what if we switched it up this time and shared the trailer right off the bat? Then we got into the rest of the show.
Hey, why not? I'm feeling adventurous. We're still getting the hang of the show anyway, so I'm down to experiment.
Here goes.
This is routine update log number 6 for Dr. Edison Tucker concerning my research into the town of Jerusalem, Oregon, and the existence of the supernatural, paranormal, mythological, etc., blah, blah, blah. Anyway, since arriving, I've definitely encountered some stuff that could be classified under weird ass. I mean, where else does putting lamb's blood on people's doorways actually work as pest control? And nobody in town will talk to me about the picnic area near Lincoln's farm. Although, could be because everybody thinks I'm one of those monster hunting idiots. Which I'm not, okay? I am an experienced professional who takes my work extremely seriously, and I am going to prove this if it's the last thing I ever...
Dr. Tucker, what have I told you about keeping samples in the fridge?
Although, to be honest, I think the biggest mystery on my hands is how I'm gonna survive living with Lucille Kensington, stuck-up extraordinaire. So, if you guys don't hear from me again, it wasn't something in the woods that got me. Probably. Where the Stars Fell. Available now wherever podcasts are found.
Welcome to Trailer Park, the podcast trailer podcast. My name is Arielle Nissenblatt.
And I'm Tim Villegas. On this show, it's all trailers all the time, baby. We're big fans of the art of the audio teaser and the art of audio in general.
Each episode of TPP features a trailer from around the podcast world, some discussion of that trailer, and extra tidbits for podcast enthusiasts, both fans and listeners.
You just heard the trailer from Where the Stars Fell, submitted by Newt Schottelkotte.
If you've been a longtime listener of the show, first of all, thank you. This is only our 4th episode, so I'm grateful that you've been tuning in. You'll know that playing the trailer up at the top of the show was a bit of a different move for us.
The reason we did that for this episode is because, A, we like playing with the format, and since this is a podcast about the art of audio making, we're down to experiment and share our findings with y'all. And B, because... as you just heard, it was a short trailer, and we sort of could get away with it.
And now we can discuss it.
But first...
This episode of TPP is brought to us by the Vocaster from Focusrite. Did you know that you can win a Vocaster just by listening to this show? We're giving one away on every episode. Head to the show notes right now to learn how to win.
Last episode, we featured a trailer for Serum. It was a longer trailer, and Serum is a limited-run podcast production of WHYY's The Pulse and local transmedia. It focuses on Gary Davis, an Ivy League-trained black physician from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who had one passion: to find a cure for AIDS. And Arielle, I'm on episode 3 right now, and I'm totally hooked.
So that just shows me that this podcast is helping people find more podcasts to listen to. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. To hear the trailer for Serum, if you haven't already, hit play on our previous episode. But this week, our featured trailer is very different, as you just heard, not just in tone, but also in subject matter, delivery, and style.
Where the Stars Fell comes from Newt Schottelkotte. It's a Caldera Studios production and is a member of the Fable and Folly Network.
Here's what the show is about. Dr. Edison Tucker is having a very weird life. Not being able to die tends to color things that way. Lucille Kensington is the literary scene's biggest enigma. That's just the way she likes it. When the pair find themselves sharing a cabin in the strangest town in America, Jerusalem, Oregon, they're prepared for a housemate situation from hell.
And we'll leave it at that cliffhanger on purpose so you can go check it out. But Arielle, let's dissect the trailer. What did you think about it?
I really loved getting thrust into the world of the show right from the outset. I also loved the length of the trailer. It was very short, very to the point. We've been featuring trailers on the show of all lengths, and this is definitely the shortest one that we've screened so far. I think that Newt and their team struck it perfectly. We hear about the world that's being built and that we're going to occupy as listeners, but then at the end of the trailer, we're sort of taken out from that world for just a brief moment of orientation as we learn the name of the show and where to find it. And I just really love how it all came together. What did you think?
So truth be told, I'm not a huge fiction podcast consumer, but I gasp.
You're in trouble.
But I do love radio dramas and audiobooks. especially when the voice acting is top notch and there's some sound design. And this trailer tells me that it's not only going to be well produced, but that I might need to explore some fiction podcasts. So great job all around. My only note would be that I wouldn't have minded if it was longer.
Fascinating. You and I have differing thoughts on that. Tim, I also want to draw attention to the website for Where the Stars Fell. First of all, the cover art, which is really beautiful, is prominently displayed, and credit is given to the artist right on the website. The artist is Caitlin Hoyleman. And there's also tons of helpful links, like information about the cast and crew, access to the scripts. There's a press kit. There's information about media coverage that the show has received. And I just think that they nailed their website. Great job.
Okay, so I just Googled Where the Stars Fell, and there is like a whole section of fan art on Tumblr. So
that's very impressive.
Podcasters, make sure you have a presence on the web. It makes a difference.
And make sure you have fans who can draw.
Could we get fan art?
Please. Whoever's listening to this, if you have, even if you know how to do stick figures, I would take a stick figure of myself.
At the time of this recording, Where the Stars Fell is crowdfunding for season 3 of the show. Right now, they're actually at 106% of their goal. So congrats to them. That's a huge accomplishment. But even if you're hearing this way after the crowdfunding campaign ends and season 3 is out into the world, we wanted to share this to point out that crowdfunding is an option for creators when trying to get their projects off the ground.
I've heard of a lot of successful crowdfunding campaigns, especially in the audio drama space. We're going to link to some resources on crowdfunding in the show notes so that you can learn more if you think that's a path you want to explore for your show.
We also had a chance to chat with Newt about their decision to thrust us listeners right into the world of the show with this trailer. Here's what Newt had to say about making this trailer stand out among other fiction shows.
Our decision to do an in-character trailer as opposed to more of a movie-style narrated one was based on the fact that with audio drama, you really have to put your story and production quality out there right from the word go, because there are so many fish in the sea, and pretty much anybody can create a show. There's a very low barrier to publication. So to stand out and make sure that people give your show a listen, your trailer has to, 1, have very high audio quality and sound design, 2, have a really interesting premise that hooks you from the start, and 3, showcase that there's good voice acting and characterization in the show. It's a fiction show, and especially because audio is a medium that doesn't have visual aids, so much of the story is told through the characters, whether you're using a framing device like Ed's recorder in our trailer, or just giving us something that's more stage-oriented. The character is really king. So I wanted to do an in-universe one to say, hey, here's what our show is about. Here is one of the leads that you're going to be following. And here's a pretty good approximation of what it's going to sound like.
Just to echo one of Newt's points about making an impression on your listeners, I say this all the time. There are a lot of podcasts to choose from, millions. And you really want to make sure that your trailer is representative of your show's tone and goals, and it lets your listeners know what to expect when they decide to hit play on episode 1.
If the trailer for Where the Stars Fell got you excited about checking out the show, you can start listening by going to wherethestarsfell.com.
And if this episode of Trailer Park got you excited about podcast trailers, there was and will be much more where that came from. Head to trailerparkpodcast.crd.co to listen to our back catalog, to send us an email with your loving feedback, and even to submit your own trailer for consideration.
We received over 150 submissions so far, which is amazing.
Unreal.
We also heard from creators who requested a proper teardown of their trailers. So you may have noticed that when we're talking about the trailers we've selected on this show, we share minimal criticism, mostly talking about what we really like about each one. And for the most part, that's because we really like the ones we've chosen. However, Arielle, do you want to share the news?
I really do. Perry and Mason from the podcast Digital Folklore have invited us to listen to their trailer and give it some real tough feedback. So after season 1 of Trailer Park wraps, we're going to feature their trailer as a bonus episode, and then we're going to properly audit it. Honestly, it is a really good trailer, but they told me to feel free to be brutally honest, and that we will be. So stay tuned for that. And if you're thinking, wasn't Perry Mason a show? You are right. Perry and Mason. They are also the hosts of this podcast.
Ding. Arielle, before we head out, I want to share a review that we received on Apple Podcasts because, wow, I really love this one. It comes from Danners and says, finally, a podcast about the most underrated element of podcasting.
Thank you, Danners, for recognizing how great trailers are. We really do love them.
If you want to get in touch with us, our inbox is open at hello@trailerparkpod.com.
Imagine if we closed our inbox. Very sad. We're also on Instagram at trailerpark_podcast, and we're back next week with more trailer-related content. Thanks for hanging out with us at the park. Hi, super cool of you to stick around. You like that record scratch? It's meant to indicate that we've still got more to say.
And for our super fans, Arielle, I actually have 2 versions of that record scratch that I alternate between shows. So
let us know if you can hear the difference, listeners.
Trailer Park Podcast is brought to us by some very cool products, and we just got to tell you about them. First, Vocaster from Focusrite is our audio interface. I'm literally using it right now.
Literally.
It really upgrades our show's sound quality, and you can win one by clicking on the link in the show notes. We get to give one away on every episode of Season 1.
Next, OSHA is our hosting provider. We love going through our analytics after every episode drop. It's super easy to use and even publishes our content directly to YouTube.
Next, Recast Studios is how we make our audio and videograms. We love the preset templates and extremely accurate transcription.
Next, AugX Labs is helping us with video content by way of AI-generated images and GIFs. Check out our videos on YouTube and join their beta program.
And Capshow is an AI copywriting software specifically designed for podcasters. It helps us name our episodes and script out our show notes.
Thank you to our sponsors. Make sure to enter to win that Vocaster in the show notes. We've got a link right there for you to click and enter. This show is written by Arielle Nissenblatt and Tim Villegas. We're also your hosts.
It's mixed and designed by Tim Villegas.
Our artwork is by Kaio Slikta.
Thanks for listening.
Happy trails. Well, GIFs and GIFs, there is a correct because the G in GIFs stands for graphic. So it's GIF.